Hello, this is John Walter with Southeast Advocate, and I'm a lawyer licensed in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. I used to be a defense lawyer. Now I'm a plaintiff's lawyer, and I just want to talk for a second about a topic that is on my mind because I just had a friend come over who I deeply admire and respect. We go to the church together, and he was talking about his personal reluctance to bring lawsuits, his personal animosity towards a lot of billboard lawyers, you may call them, lawyers who advertise aggressively, encouraging people to bring lawsuits, treating it as if they are looking for prey, which in a sense they are. And any plaintiff's lawyer they make a living off of bringing lawsuits, and so there's an aspect of where a plaintiff's lawyer is simply looking to generate income. So there's some truth to that. But I just want to kind of talk about how our conversation went and my thoughts on that topic, having worked as both a defense lawyer and now a plaintiff's lawyer. So as a plaintiff's lawyer, I'll say this, as a plaintiff's lawyer, I do get phone calls from people who are scraping the bottom of the bucket for anything they can think of to try to find some reason to sue anybody for any reason to just make some money. That is not healthy in my perspective. It's treating the legal system like a lottery ticket, and the purpose of the legal system. So we live in a fallen and a broken world, right? Sin has impacted our world so that it should be perfect. We should not have harm, we should not have death, and we should not have deceit and theft. But these things have entered the world, and as a society, we have set up the court system, the laws, and insurance companies, and even personal assets. And we've decided as a society that when harm occurs to somebody, we are going to reallocate our resources to mitigate the impact of that harm or that sin in society, so that it makes it as close to perfect in this world as it can be. Now, there are times when people are harmed and they choose voluntarily not to pursue a claim. And there's some merit to that. There's certain circumstances where you are commanded in the Bible to not sue somebody, and the most clear instance is when it's a Christian suing another Christian, and it encourages Christians to pursue these matters amongst each other and within the church. That's a very complex topic. I could do a whole other video on that. You have issues about what if somebody claims to be a Christian, but by their behavior and lifestyle, it is clear that they are not. What if there are different churches? What if, it's a big issue, very important issue. And I'd like to dig into that more in another video. But apart from that situation where we have a Christian suing a non-Christian, there are times when you have a moral responsibility to bring a lawsuit. And that in particular occurs when, one, it is an ongoing harm. If you are harmed and somebody else is going to keep harming you or another person, then you have a moral responsibility to stand up and to stop that. And I think it is always best to try to respectfully but matter-of-factly approach that person and ask them to stop. This might happen in something happening at work, for example. There's some kind of harassment or wage theft occurring. You can ask them to stop. And then if they do not stop, you are under a moral responsibility to go through the hardship and perhaps even make individual sacrifice. You could create you might get a little compensation for a wage theft claim, but guess what? You sued your boss. There's going to be some tension there. But at the end of the day, you are preventing evil. And so there's ongoing harm, and then there's a situation where it's likely to happen again. So by taking action, you can deter this type of conduct from happening in the future. So if you are injured Even if it's something basic, it doesn't seem like there's any malice behind it. Maybe it's just a negligent design of something. Maybe they're, a basic slip and fall case where there's a, they didn't put any warnings out, and they could have and they should have and they didn't. And then a lawsuit is brought. Okay. Usually when a slip and fall occurs, they're going to be scared. The employees, the company will be scared enough by that to start taking some remedial action. At least you would hope they would. But by bringing a lawsuit, that is going to linger on them. I mean, there's going to be a new company policy. There's going to be additional training. There's going to be, the people in that store are going to be taken to depositions, which is sitting in a room with lawyers just asking direct questions, gathering evidence about that case. That's uncomfortable. No one likes depositions except the lawyers who have experience doing them. But, it's having been on the defense side, I have seen instances where you see benefit come from the litigation. It can be a single accident. You can see a single accident occur, and a lawsuit is filed, and you see the company they're not malicious, they're not trying to hurt people, but say, we didn't think of that before. And now we have lawyers and risk management involved. Everyone's highly focused on this issue, and they develop solutions. And the rules of evidence prevent the taking action to create solutions from being introduced as evidence, because it's understood that litigation encourages inspiration and safety, and it encourages people to take actions to improve the conditions of a place or a product. And so when you can't slander them for taking those actions. And so it's recognized even within the rules of evidence that there is this beneficial aspect to litigation that needs to be protected. And then finally, I just want to talk about there's an interesting verse. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 8. I'm going to read it real quick. So, when you build a house, you shall make a parapet for your roof, that you may not bring the guilt of blood upon your house if anyone should fall from it. So it's a command from God for people to build a parapet around the roof of their house. So the parapet, think of it like a guardrail. So people would spend time on the roofs at that time of day. I would love to have roof access here. I think it's a cool concept, but it's back then it was very common, and it's a command from God to take basic precautions to protect people from harm when they come to your house, right? So there's a moral component. When somebody does something that hurts another human who is made in the image of God, hurts or kills a human made in the image of God, there is a moral dimension there. And I hate that this is taken out of context by so many lawyers who will just bring any claim that they can find and just like running a mill that's almost out of desperation. They've got bills to pay and they're just trying to squeeze as much money out of each case as possible. So the plaintiff, you're supposed to advocate, and you're supposed to bring the strongest case for the plaintiff as possible, and then the defense brings the strongest case for the defense as possible. And that is the litigation process that brings it to the middle, so that the jury and the judge, they've seen all perspectives, and they will come to the right conclusion in most circumstances because of the strong advocacy. So it is right. But I just got to tell you, as a plaintiff's lawyer, I genuinely appreciate a client who is hesitant to bring a lawsuit, and that they're not eager to bring a lawsuit, and that they really want to think things through and make sure that they're doing it for the right reasons and that their heart is in the right place. And so I hope this video is speaking to that individual in particular. This is a very deep topic. I expect to provide several videos on this, ranging from, especially on the topic of Christians suing Christians and how to best navigate that issue. But So yeah, thanks for watching. It's a joy to talk about this, and if you have any questions, you can leave a comment, and I'll try to respond. All right, thank you.